Hey everyone, it's Krista. We're back again. Okay, maybe you're far enough away now. We'll see. Geez, this camera is crazy. Okay. We'll see how this works. Dang. Okay, it's still. Holy crap. Like for real, you just can't imagine how far away. Can I make this thing go away? And make you a little higher. Oh, wait, I need to do it here? Jeez. Y'all are not making it easy. Yeah. Okay. So you can't see the stand. And you can't see me and the tank. That's obnoxious. Would a lower angle help? I don't. Dang. Would going further away help? Like you're already boomed out away from me. Well, that might work. Hey, there we go. Sweet. Okay. All right. This is, but now, good thing I'm tall, girl. Jeez. Okay, so this is the tank we made Friday. We survived the weekend, sort of. I'm gonna wear gloves so I don't put finger goo all over the tank. Hey, we have somebody watching. Yay, thank you. Thanks for joining, making sure I work. All right, so this here is the cooling jig that I put on, and it spreads the sides of the tank apart. And it spreads it a little more than we want to end up, so that it ends up perfectly at the frame width. A little bit of tension, not much. A good bit of tension goes into making it. Initially, we just told people deal with it and, extend your ski boot and turn one of the feet around. Well, and then it occurred to me I could just do a cooling jig and then spread the tank for you, and then it's not an issue. Magic. Okay. So we do have the drill guide plate still installed. So now we're going to ratchet strap the tank to the table. Wow, Tuesdays after holiday Mondays are epically bad Mondays. It's like extra Monday style. All right, so that's not going anywhere. I'm going to run the vacuum, so that's going to be loud. I'm going to need hearing protection for me. Oh, we need the toolkit for this. What can you see? You can see... Okay, well, you see mess. There's plenty of that. I'm kind of psycho. Here's the toolkit for this tank. It's most of the pieces I need. And I just dropped my my box of bags. Okay, good times. Why don't we just go ahead and take a second to pick this up? Normally I would just be grumpy and leave it for later in life, but let's actually do it right. Okay. All right. So it does not have this in the toolkit. This is a 4-inch hole saw. All right, let's move expensive phone away from sharp things. Learn that lesson with the Samsung Galaxy. No numbers, no letters, just a Galaxy. Okay, ears, tool, tank still in frame. Loud noise. So I found out that this, using this hole saw on our tanks, you really need to have a brushless type drill. Because if you cheap out and buy a normal drill, it's going to kick back really hard and probably scare the F out of the person trying to wield the tool. That'd be me. So there's so much static cling with this procedure, with manufacturing as a whole. Like when you pull these tanks out, like my hair stands up. I mean, it's for real lots of static electricity involved in general. So every time you cut something and make chips, you're dealing with those chips sticking to the tank. Oh, the other part about the dang tool jumping is when it jumps, it has the chance of hitting something you didn't want it to and ruining the tank. And so it's worth the extra $30 or $40 to not ruin a tank. So I'm going to go turn the air compressor valve on. We're going to use compressed air for the dunk test. I keep our air compressor filled all the time. I turn off the valve when I remember. All right, so what are we doing? What are we doing? We're getting rid of the plate, and then we need to seal up the tank. I don't know how much I like this view. I just don't. We'll see. This goes back into the post-molding toolbox. Like everything where you need tools for production, I tend to keep a whole separate copy of those tools in a place to where I know where those tools are and I don't need to go searching. In fact, like I bought a couple extra number 3 screwdrivers. They're $6-7 each. But having extra tools can mean I'm not looking for a tool or walking to the other room and disrupting my already crazy brain. Okay. We're checking the ceiling surface. It looks okay. I mean, chips, you're going to see me reaching in and pulling chips out like continuously. Here's one of our flanges that I modified so that we can seal the tank. And then this is a air fitting that's a little different than our standard air fittings. Hopefully I won't put full shop air on this tank because I'm certain it would explode. We found out the HN69 tanks lose a piece of their body at about 20 psi. And I think we dented the ceiling with it. Thankfully, it missed the fluorescent tubes. Now, when I'm doing pressure testing, I don't use power tools to tighten things because I don't want to cheat. I use Phillips head screws in production because they are a lot more reliable than all the other kinds of drives. I can use these screws over and over 100 times and they're fine, even when you screw them up a little bit. As long as you're always using the right size driver, you're usually pretty good. So I'm just walking around and probably putting 4 foot-pounds or so force and just making sure they're all on. Okay, I don't yet need to drill out the top. There's already cat hair everywhere. Jeez. Well, probably because the white cat walked through the same room and there's static electricity. Okay. So we're going to cover the hole. There's a vent here, so we need to use the lip for sealing the gasoline. We're going to use that to make sure that it holds air. Now, additionally, we have a drain tube that goes through the tank. So this piece of all thread goes through to the other side, and it is there to hold the tank together during this test so that it doesn't break that tube. It's like a straw of plastic that was molded around a pin. And so you can probably imagine pulling on a straw of plastic doesn't make the most strength. And I'm almost certain we could withstand a couple PSI without an issue, but we're right there at the brink of what it can take. So I put on a plate and a nut to help provide support. for that straw in the middle. And that's the drain around the filler cap. Okay, so the tank is ready for its dunk test. We're going to use a garbage can that you would roll to the street full of water. This is my test apparatus. We have that matching fitting for the plate on the tank. I have 3 plates, so there's 3 of these matching fittings, and I use this same tester on all 4 of our molds. The monster tank and the multi-strata use this same plate adapter to the fuel flange, and then of course the MH is going to be different, as well the HM. So you have a low PSI regulator, it's like goes up to 5, a needle valve, a gauge, and then a pressure relief. Yeah, this angle sucks. I don't know any other way to say it. So you're going to see these 2 things move outwards when we add air. The tank does deform, and then it will go back to its original shape. So this piece is rising up. These are bulging. We're going to close the valve on the plate, let off the air, and then at some point we might figure out how to rig your camera to be on a more friendly tripod, but for the moment, that's what you're getting. It becomes really obvious when there is a leak, especially with compressed air. Bubbles will start leaving. This tank has no known issues, so it's rare to encounter a leak, and so they're basically not expected. But at the same time, if you don't test it, you can't say that it doesn't leak. We don't sell Schrodinger's cat. All right, we are totally good. Now I'm going to try to wipe up as much of the water as I can. We use blue towels for that, those blue Scott shop towels. I really don't. I'm going to have to find a different angle. We're going to have to play with it. These manage to dry, and if they don't have dust or contamination, they won't scratch. Let's take off that backing plate. And then we'll take off the cover plate, the filler cover. I don't know. I would use an OEM cap to test its sealing, except for those are notoriously bad at sealing. They're spring tension and they have old rubber. So at some point I came up with a fair value to use for the depth of this well versus the height of the raised part. And at some point, I convinced my nerd brain that this was a fair test of a stock tank. And then I believe this rubber is taken from one of the aftermarket tank designs or one of the filler caps. We're going to do a little more drying. I definitely use gloves because finger goo leaves print residue and evidence. And, we want to deliver a tank with the least molestation possible to the customer. Let's go get a fresh one. Now, the cool thing about those wet towels is that they're great at removing chips from the interior of the tank. I do my best to preserve the top surface of the tank. It's a little bit of ghosting. We might need to either start cheating with mold release or redo the mold release. But we have 2 more bakes to do for customers waiting. So we're going to try to get those 2 bakes done without having to interrupt production to do a mold release. Mold release is just, you have to kind of run an extra cycle, but you're not making a part. So it's a little frustrating to, go through all the work and then you don't make a part. But it helps a beautiful, pretty black tank come out. So that's what you do. It also helps the part to not lock into the mold. And so definitely you always have to have mold release. It's a water-based from Stoner Products. I think they're a division of DuPont. We use heavy-duty water-based rotational mold release. And at some point there will definitely be filming of how that goes down. Okay, we'll use power tool to remove. Now we're going to dry the underside, and then we will scoop some chips now. We're going to be scooping chips after probably every stage. So you saw we didn't do all that much. Oh, you can't see. You can't tell. Nope. Nothing. Nope. So even after all that vacuuming and wiping, it still had stuff. Still has stuff. I really do put a lot of effort into removing chips. We do a lot better than when we had our tanks made in LA, and I didn't know just how bad it was. We do a lot of things a lot better now than when we were in LA. How are you going to see this? Like from here? I guess that'll work. We're going to drill out where the gas tank filler goes. And then you have to be really careful not to just blast on through, because there's a reason. We'll get there. There's stuff underneath, like that plastic tube that will leak if you break it. And the other side of the tank is there, like the underneath, up above the air box. That's all like right there, 1.5 inches away. Okay, so we have to drill this out. We're going to use this hole saw. It's 1 5/8 inches, and it's a little small, so you have to kind of go in twice. So you have to cut the hole, and then you have to go find the edge you left, and then work that ledge. We're going to have the vacuums, hearing protection, and y'all are welcome to say something. I'm paying attention to the chat. It's there. I'll see it. So yeah, you got to be careful not to let the angry sharp stuff get to where the filler cap seals, or where the tank is shiny and everyone can see it. Next up, we have the tool that cuts the notch for the filler cap. So I figured out the exact height we wanted based on my deck, and then I created the slotted thing to prevent the tool from wanting to travel around and to keep it on level at the right height. I made this tool fairly early on in the world of this tank. It was there for production from the beginning. And it's just a standard air-powered die grinder from the blue kind of hardware store. I just looked for something that looked like you could take the end off of it. And sure enough, you can. It just has threads. All right, that's on there. We're going to run the vacuum again. Yay. Oh, we've lost 2/3 of our viewers. Oh no, Mr. Bill. Okay, so now we've got it to where when you put the cap down, it closes and latches and the key's perfect height. Now you open it and you fill up the fuel. If I don't do anything else right now, it's going to splash out as it gets close. And so I didn't like getting splashed in the groin. So I realized that there are little tiny vent holes on the sides on the stock tanks. So I'm doing that too here. So it's obviously below where we seal it, and then it goes through to the air at the top of the tank, and it gives you a little bit of warning. And it'll foam and it'll shoot out foam at you as the tank approaches full. And so I had one of these tanks. I had a Ducati Monster S2R800 for maybe 10 years. And I basically built this tank so that I could ride my bike on the track and hang off. And then kind of everybody thinks the design is dumb, so I should have done it in sort of the shape of the stock tank rather than say, hey, what if we made it like a sport bike? Oh well, you lose some and then you lose some more. Instead of asking what the customers wanted, I just kind of assumed I'm not cool, so what I wanted is not what everyone else wanted, that's for sure. Now we're going to make our threads for where the fitting goes. Dedicated tools, they stay in this box. I have an extension so it can reach. And this little gizmo is a very awesome, there's no focus. Just, yeah, don't worry, take my word for it. But it's a M10 by 1.0 tap. And that is remarkably similar to 8th and PT. All right, so is that all the preparations? That is all of the prepping. So we did the testing and we finished the preparations. Now we have to trim all of this excess flash. So why don't we figure out how to get you to where you can see it? Which I guess means put you twice as close. I don't know. All right, you're over here. Can we lower you down? This camera's just amazing. I love it. All right. Except for I made it to where there's a shadow. What if we do this? Nope. So you need to be where the light is from the outside. Okay, so we might not kill that light. Let's bring you around.